Okay, guys, give me 5 for 5 and we'll get going here. Let's crack a lacking. Good morning. I know I don't usually stream like this time. I've been streaming at some pretty crazy times lately. But yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So thanks for everybody that's here already. Please share this out. I would really appreciate that. We do have some space weather going on here, and we're going to we're going to take a look at that here in just a second. And but yeah, so please share it out. Like, if you like the video, please leave a like. I know it's YouTube stuff, but I gotta say it. If I don't, people either forget or I don't know, I'm OCD like that. Yeah, you don't like the video, leave a like. But one thing that I noticed you guys are doing for me, and I really do appreciate it, you're coming back to the video and you're leaving a comment after the live stream is done. You guys would not believe how much that makes a difference in the algorithm. But that's just what it is. So, but yeah, guys, so yeah, and super chat stuff is opened up. If you guys want to do that, you can. I really appreciate that. And it's not a requirement or anything like that. I'm not even like that. I think you guys know that. But I am going to mention it, and there it is. So you want to super chat, it's there. I'm working on memberships. I got some pretty cool stuff for memberships going to be coming up here. Been thinking about some ideas. If you guys got any ideas, any kind of perks I can give you for memberships, just let me know. Most definitely will be doing that. So, all right, guys. So let's just go ahead and jump into the space weather. We do have, we've got some interesting stuff going on. We actually bumped back up into a radiation storm again. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We had these eruptions, and they were big ones. And after my last live stream, we had a really, really large... I was telling you guys about the one that was actually behind the limb. And we'll go over that again here in a minute. But there was another one that happened yesterday, and I wasn't able to... It happened after I did my show, and I wasn't able to come back on last night. My daughter had a thing, and we were... Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway... Big old eruption. And it's a big one too. It's a significant one. It's not going to hit us. It's going, the other way. Not really the other way. It's kind of going at an angle. It happened on the west or the east side of the sun, which again, guys, that's reverse when we're talking about the sun. But these CMEs that I'm getting ready to talk about are actually starting to hit now. And I'll go over that here in just a second. But anyway, so you got your X-ray flux. This is what we use to measure solar flares, the flare part of an eruption. This is simply X-ray. It's here and gone in about 8 minutes, but this is the scales that we use to measure it. And we had this one back here, and this was a significant one. I think it was an M6. I think maybe an M8, probably more like an M8, I would think. But that was when you start seeing flares up there like that, they typically will produce a CME, and the CME that's produced with those seems to be pretty significant most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. It doesn't mean it's coming at us, though. So I'm going to put that out there first and foremost. And again, guys, what I'm talking about here today is not grid down anything, so please don't be in any kind of fear. It's just not worth it. And this isn't really anything to really be fearing. I'm talking about all this because it's interesting space weather stuff, and it helps us understand and become aware for when we do have to talk about something that could really impact our daily lives for a very long time. Again, I tell you guys this all the time. The sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. We know the science behind a lot of it. But it's not perfect. It's not even close. So what I'm saying is, as far as forecasting things, so it's better to have this kind of knowledge, because there's a chance, a really good chance, that if it was something that was going to knock us out, the grid down for an extended period of time, there's a good chance I wouldn't be able to get out here and even give you any kind of warning. Because events like that typically are moving really fast. And don't forget, I have a family too. So I say this so people understand and they become more aware and they really start to pay attention and they gain the knowledge. So when stuff is actually happening, then you can make those adjustments yourself. You won't have to rely on anybody else because you'll know what's going on. It doesn't make it any easier in that situation other than you make better decisions because you're not shocked by it. At least not to the effect of somebody that doesn't know anything at all about this, about space weather, right? So they're going to be out there wondering what the heck to do, and you guys are going to at least have some sort of an idea. At the very least, you're going to have some sort of an idea what caused it. So let's just leave it there. But, and I say all that because there are a lot of videos that get made, people just scaring the crap out of people. It's just not worth it. Doesn't do any good. But anyway, guys, so you had a flare here. This is a longer flare, another one. Remember I told you guys during my last live stream that the radiation storm was starting to tail off, and it was. We came out of storm level for a significant amount of time here. This is protons, okay? It crossed our magnetic connection line. This eruption that went off to our west. And we'll look at that again here in a minute. But it popped back up. Why did it pop back up? Right here. Okay, there was another eruption. It was shot out that same kind of direction. And yeah, an increased protons, so it put us back up into radiation storm level. All the way back up to S2 for a period of time. Okay? Now, down here on the geomagnetic activity, that's where we kind of see where the CMEs and stuff are hitting. You see this little up and down, up and down. These are 3-hour plot points. So I do think that stuff is starting to get here. These first couple of CMEs are really going to be glancing blows, and I've been telling you guys that. But the third one may not be just such a glancing blow. It could be more of a direct hit, but it itself could still be a glancing blow. But what do we have to go off of? Well, we got the models, and that's what we have to go off of. We have really no other form of information than just data and the models. So let me show you this before we get moving, because I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about. 3 CMEs. Okay, this is the Earth, and it is top down, side cut. Okay, and this is the NOAA model, and what you're going to see, we back it up. You already got 1 CME here. Okay, so if I go forward with it, what are you seeing there? Another one, right? Then another one. But notice how this one went more this direction. Okay, these other two kind of went to the south. This one here is going more towards the north. Now, as far as straight on, as far as left to right, that's what we look at the top down for. And it does look like these, as far as left to right, it would hit us. Okay? So you see those 3. Boom, boom, and then boom. Now, if it happened exactly like this, we're probably looking at a G2. Okay? Upper end, maybe G3. That's really kind of, upper end of this. And I wouldn't be saying that other than the fact that these first 2 are really going to be glancing blows. At least that's what they look like to be. Now, if it pans out to be something different, I'll be telling you something different. You guys know I nowcast. I don't forecast. I like to tell you guys what's up. As it's happening, I don't want to make that mistake of being that, doing all that. But as you can see, guys, it's, yeah. And this here is showing you in a graph form. Notice it says 60 on density. This usually sits there and it reads 0, like to 5 and 10, 20 sometimes. They only raise it up there when it's a really, really dense hit. So that's what it's showing you there. This is going to be a dense hit if it hits. The speed of it isn't quite so fast. We're looking probably 500, 550, maybe 600 kilometers per second. The upper end of normal would be 500 kilometers per second. Okay? So with that being said, good morning in there, guys, by the way. Thank you, Jennifer, for modding. I appreciate you. George, yes. What's up, Sully? Good to see you. Star, what's happening? Freedom Underground, what's up? Carol, just saying. George in the house. Skywatch, what's up? Jody. Dominique, Colleen, Jan. Okay, just want to say hi real quick. Now, so as we see these things start to impact us, you're going to start seeing the data start to move, right? So let's go here. I know I pulled that Discover data up. What did I do with it? Hold on. I don't know where it went, but we'll just pull it up again. Okay, this is the Discover graph, and this is just telling us space weather conditions. Now, when I looked at this a little while ago, this is the BZ. I tell you guys, we got to look for BZ, right? That would be -6 or greater. And right now, it's actually at that threshold. We're close to -6. That's why this is purple. That means that the magnetic position of our magnetic field is in an orientation to where it'll draw stuff in instead of trying to deflect it. Now, it's going to deflect a lot of it anyway, but I mean, it comes in easier. Okay? And that's just a simple, kind of an explanation of what that is. There's a lot more science behind that, guys. There really is a lot more science. So, as we get moving here, you can see everything started moving right here. Everything else is hanging out pretty steady. Okay? Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm back. So, when you see this going to purple and it's staying there, okay? So, that right there is telling me that we're in a position that, hey, we get hit with something, it's probably going to draw it in. And that's really kind of what we're seeing, okay? I don't know if that's going to hang out like that or not. I don't have a good answer for you on that. But what I will say is I seen us take a hit a few weeks back, and instead of going negative, it went way positive. So and that does happen. And when that happens, that means we deflect it pretty well. So the density's hanging out right at the upper end of normal for me. That's kind of what we're looking at there. And the purple line here is the solar wind speed. Notice how they only got it up to 600 here, so nothing's really, they're not expecting any kind of breakneck speed on these CMEs to hit, okay? And if you're wondering, the green line is temperature. I'm not going to go into that explanation why they show you that and all that, but that's what it is. And again, guys, the BZ started to move as all these other data points started moving. So that means that either we got some solar wind from a coronal hole, or it was a CME, and it probably was the glancing blow for one of those CMEs. Okay? Well, there's that same one. So, I want to show you this real quick. I'm going to show you some imaging from SDO. Okay? This satellite right here. Okay? It's in geosynchronistic orbit. I'm going to scroll down here and explain to you what that is. Okay? The satellite stays in this pattern at all times. And it stays over that same part of our planet at all times. It rotates with us at 15 degrees an hour. I'm not sure exactly how far up it is in a mileage, but it's in like a low Earth orbit. And so that's where this satellite's at. Okay? But it always keeps its eye on the sun. So in other words, it's rotating as it's orbiting, like this. See this? It's keeping its eye on the sun. That yellow line right there is the sun connection. Okay? So that's what it's trying to show you there. And because of this, the way that the satellite is, you do get an eclipse season twice a year. I've explained that ad nauseum. I'll be making a playlist on what's causing that, or what that actually means. So you know where that satellite's at. This right here, guys, is the same satellite, but I got you over here at ISWA. Okay, I'm going to show you ISWA here because there's a lot of different models you can come over here and look at. So just start clicking on these tabs. Okay? And start clicking on these other tabs. and looking at these models. And like if I hover over that, it gives me a definition of what that is. Okay, so you can learn just by coming over here and just moving your mouse around. And you may not understand the word salad it throws at you at times, but you can, do some looking up of the words and what they mean, and or ask somebody else a question. My comment section is very helpful. You guys answer each other's questions all the time. If I can't get to you, typically somebody else is answering it for you. So don't be afraid to ask questions in my comment section, because you're not going to get made fun of or judged. So, because, frankly, I didn't know hardly anything about this 10 years ago. And I just slowly started getting into it. And this, my knowledge of this has increased quite a bit. I get things wrong sometimes still. And when I do, I come and tell you. Like the other day, I think I actually did. I was talking about a CME that I thought was going to do something, and it ended up going the other direction. So I came out and told you. That's the right thing to do. I mean, I'm not afraid to be wrong. I have no ego. There is no ego when you're trying to learn something. Matter of fact, you almost have to have a little bit of patience and humility with that, because you have to let somebody else teach you. So that's what I'm saying. You're trying to learn something, sometimes you got to back up and just look at people and let them take the wheel for a second and show you what's going on. And I do that even with everybody I talk to here online, including you guys in the comment section and here in the chat. So this is the 171 angstrom. Remember, it's from the same satellite I just showed you guys the location of it. And I got two images here pulled up, and I want to show you guys this because this is the most current, okay? This is 2020. And the reason I've done this is to show you the difference between close to solar max, which is on the left, and this is in solar minimum. You guys see the difference? It's not hard to see. It's there. And I'm doing this just so you guys get a good visual of this. I do this from time to time, but yeah. So if I scroll down, I want to show you this big eruption that happened. And I'm going to zoom in. The best way to show it to you is a 304 angstrom. Now, when I say angstrom, it's a part of the light spectrum, and the ones I'm going to be showing you, we cannot see with our naked eye. We can't see it at all without the help of technology. Okay, this is looking at a specific gas. The 304, the gas that shows up in a 304 angstrom is ionized helium, and because of that, we're able to see these dark shadows, and those dark shadows are magnetic filaments. And they bust off sometimes. That becomes a CME if it gets shot out into space. Okay? But as you can see, this eruption right here, guys, it's a big one. And, frankly, if that thing was coming at us, we could be having a different discussion. That's a big one. Especially if it looks to be pretty dense and pretty... it just looks powerful. I'll just put it to you that way. There's really not a whole other way to say that, But it's significant. It is a significant eruption. And it's not going to hit us. But I'm showing it to you because we've had 4 or 5 of them that were really significant shots that, frankly, missed us by like 12 to 24 hours. So, if this one was to happen 24, maybe 48 hours after it did, because it would be over here then. Okay? What that means is it had a better chance of coming at us. So check this out. I mean, this is it's an eruption to behold. It's very photogenic. Why is it photogenic? Because the blackness of space is the background. It's not the surface of the sun. When you get an eruption right here in the middle, sometimes they're even hard to see because the sun will camouflage it. We'll get stealth CMEs that nobody sees, and we'll get hit with something, not know where it's from, and then we'll go back and look at the data, and we'll figure out, hey, that was a CME that popped off right there nobody's seen. That's why. Okay? So, with that being said, give me a roll call in there, guys. Let me know where you guys are at. Let's, yeah. So let me, give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm getting moving on. Hey, Stephanie, good to see you guys. I thought, yeah, my chat froze up, guys. I missed about almost all of that you guys are talking about in there. Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I missed almost all of that. I thought my chat was messing up and wasn't doing anything. Thought you guys were just kind of being quiet this morning, but it was locked up. Hi, Stephanie, Butterfly. What's going on? Nelly. Okay, let me get back to this first. People get on me, guys, if I do all that real at the beginning or in the middle somewhere. So I usually try to get, ask questions at the end and shout you guys out then. But please respect my moderators too, okay? It's just not cool to come in here and bust their, try to bust up on them somehow. They're just trying to help. They do a great job, by the way. Simple chat rule. I got one chat rule. Be an adult. Just saying. You can have a difference of opinion, but if you disrespect have an opinion and you're voicing it in a very disrespectful way, calling people names, those kinds of things, that is not tolerated at all. We do not talk negatively about a specific YouTube channel either. Even if I don't agree with them or if you guys don't, all it does is just bring drama. And we're not doing that here. If you want drama, go to a tea channel. Where they're spilling the tea. But anyway, guys, check that out. Actually, I think I'll zoom in a little bit more to give you a little bit more of a... And I may be going on... I'm pretty sure we were talking about doing a... I was talking about with Dex and Marf yesterday. I was going to call in and talk to him yesterday, but I was out of town till like late, so I couldn't. But I think we might be doing something today, so keep an eye out for that. I'll drop a community post, and if that ends up happening, and you guys can go check me out over there on Marfugal. Okay. Most of you guys know who Marfugal is because most of you came from there, or at least followed me there, or half you guys came from there. So anyway, check that out, guys. Look at that thing. That is a very photogenic. That's plasma, guys. Okay. What are we not seeing with this? Can you guys tell me? Look at this. You're not seeing a flare. You see this? That's a filament. Okay. So, yeah. Now, I know it looks like it's rotating, but it's actually not. Those are magnetic lines that are just in that position. This is not wind, as if you went outside in a convertible. Okay? It's not like that. These are highly charged particles, charged gas, traveling on magnetic connection lines, and the magnetic lines themselves take on looping characteristics, and sometimes they look like tornadoes. We call them solar tornadoes or solar hurricanes and all kinds of crazy things, just because of the visual you get. But that's a big one, isn't it? And you guys been with me for a minute knows that is not a baby. That is a decent sized one, guys. That is nothing to mess with. I'm not saying that would be grid down, because I don't think it would be, even if it hit us right on the nose. I think we would see G3 at least from that. But there's no way for me to tell either. I don't know how dense it is or how fast it's moving. It's not coming at us. So, I mean, yeah. But you can see all that plasma. Pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, that's a big one, guys. Big, big one. Okay. All right. So let me zoom back out. And I would say this too, guys. Isn't that kind of interesting, though, that, solar minimum and solar maximum, the difference that makes? I would have never thought it would be that big of a difference, because that's what you're looking at here. Also, if I was to go back and look at, take you through year by year, just one capture, 2020, 2021, 22, all the way through, right? You would see the sunspots start to appear up here, and they would migrate towards the equatorial regions where they're at now. This right here is on the equator. So, yeah. I just wanted to point that out. And I guess We'll go over here and look at the 211. We'll look at that eruption here too. Oh, and by the way, the big eruption I showed you guys the other day that caused the radiation storm down here, okay, it did come from the back. It was a backside eruption. That's confirmed now because you can go look at the data. Okay, so I'm looking up here, and it's not a whole lot. You can't really see a whole lot here. You can see that the atmosphere gets disrupted, but you can also see the rest of the sun is still very, very active, and that's what we got to pay attention to. Notice the difference in these two images. There's the 131. I'm not going to show that to you. Just the one I had up there for whatever reason. The 94 shows sunspots pretty well. Okay, so if I do that, watch this one up here. Right there. That's that big eruption up there. Okay, it definitely is significant. Okay, just wanted to show you that. Just to give you guys another visual on that. Now, this is Soho. All right, I'll take you over here to seeds. The Earth's here. Okay, Soho is right out in front of us, about 1 million miles closer to the sun. Always stays in front of us. It orbits around the sun with us. It's just about 1 million miles closer. It truly is like you walk outside and look up at the sun. That's your perspective. Okay? So let me show you this. And I also got a model I'm going to show you that I made a while back. It's a 3D model, and I'm going to show it to you because it's going to help you guys understand why sometimes these things look like they're coming right at us and they miss. Okay? But anyway, I'll show them to you as we get going here. So this is, I have stereo A. Daggone it. So we're at Soho, and what I'm going to do, we'll go to the 11th. Okay, I went back to the 11th because you can kind of see where all this stuff is starting to happen, right? This is a coronagraph, so it's not like a camera. You get one capture, I think, every 4 minutes or 12 minutes, something like that. What is that? Yeah, every 12 minutes, you get one capture. I know it looks like a movie, and it is a movie tool, but it's more like a slideshow, almost like an animation book you used to make when you were a kid. You know, little flip books to make a cartoon character look like it's moving. That's essentially what we got here. Okay? So, I'm going to go back one more day because I think we had the first eruption that caused the first radiation storm right there. Okay? So here's that eruption right there is what caused the first radiation storm. All right? So we'll watch that for a second, and then we'll go to the next day here. Okay? Notice the snow pop up over here. That's because the protons arrived after the eruption. Okay, that's your radiation. When you see it's clear, now watch. This eruption is going to happen, and then you're going to see the start of a whiteout over here. Right there. See it all start coming? Those are protons hitting the detector. It's hitting the imager, the camera. Okay? So, and then we go to the next day, look what happens. Guys, these are not babies. These are significant CMEs. It's just none of them are coming directly at us. And because they continue is why the radiation storm continues. Because more protons are just getting shot out. Okay? So, I'm showing you this because this is very active. I don't know that I've ever showed you guys a week of this type of elevated activity before. I really don't. I don't know. I know I've shown you some, like a string of 3 or 4 days, but this is going on, and I don't think it's going to slow down. Now, we were kind of expecting a little bit of an uptick in February, and obviously this is it, so we're going to see how it pans out if it hangs on. So, Okay, now let's go to the 12th. So again, two more big ones right there, and then up here. That one there was the one I just showed you on SDO. Here to the top left. Okay? That one. In my opinion, that one looked to be stronger than any of the other ones that I showed you. Okay? So, and it's just going off the visual, how fast it was moving. It looked like it was moving pretty quick. Okay? And you can tell it's pretty dense. But we had an eruption over here right after. Okay? So let's take a look at the 13th, which is today. You're probably not going to see a whole lot because there's not really a whole lot to show you from the 13th. There hasn't been any huge CMEs today. Not yet. So we're just going to keep an eye on it. All right? So, let me do this for you guys. So I think what I'm getting ready to show you is pretty beneficial. Let's stop that. Let's go here. Okay. All right. So, I got you on a 3D viewer right here. Okay. So, what are we looking at? Now, I made this in 3D paint. It is very, very crude. Okay. It's very rudimentary, but I tell you, it really gets the point across. So, what are we looking at? That's the sun, right? This is the Earth. Now, I made this model a while back. This is stereo A. That other satellite, I said that we had a viewpoint from the side. This satellite is now hanging out at Earth. Okay? It's no longer over here. So we don't get this side view. Why did that affect the way that we can tell if these things are going to hit us or not? So, say we had a CME pop off the sun right here. Looks like it's going to smack Earth right in the middle, doesn't it? That's what this cone is, right? Check this out. It missed. You see what I'm showing you there? Just because from the camera's perspective, it may look like it's coming our direction, doesn't mean that it is. This is why. Because everything I showed you up until right now was two-dimensional. And everything we do is three-dimensional. That's why it's hard to visualize it. So if we get an eruption on the sun and we only look from one position, we can say, hey, yeah, that's going to hit the Earth. But we would be incorrect because we don't have the side view anymore. If this satellite was here, stereo A, we could just pop behind stereo A and get a good idea whether or not this thing was even coming our direction. Because then we would have, from our perspective, okay, and stereo A's perspective. So, yeah. Now, if I take you behind here, this 3D viewer is kind of a pain in the butt to move. So I go on, this is top down. Okay, see how far it's missing? I mean, that's what I'm trying to explain to you, okay? I hope you guys are really getting that. Because, and if you go over here, it looks like it's going to hit too, right? But if you come behind the Earth again, it misses. It's all about your perspective. So I hope that helps you guys understand, because I've gotten a lot of questions on that. Let me know if that helped, because I might show that more often once in a while, just to give people a better look at things. Did that do okay for you guys? I mean, do you guys understand what I was saying there? So, yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. So, all right, cool. So what I'm going to do here, guys, this here is the German website that gives us the HP. It is the KP, essentially, okay? It is... Let me show you. Sorry. It's this, okay? These are 3-hour plot points. I'm going to show you 30-minute plot points. It gives us more real time. So as I'm looking at this, it looks like this could be the glancing blow, the first glancing blow. And we were on an uptick again here too, but then it tailed back off. That could have been the second one. I don't know. But regardless, the geomagnetic activity is definitely on the move here. Okay? So yeah. Want to show that to you. Make sure you guys know what's going on with that. All right. Now, this is spaceweather.com. I typically will show you Dr. Tony Phillips' page here. Please go check this page out. A lot of good information here every time. That radiation storm, guys, I mean, yeah, it got back to an S2. Kind of crazy. As a matter of fact, on the pole regions, let me show you this. They got radio blackouts on the poles. They can't do like shortwave radio right here, right now. There's too much of that stuff hanging around. So, obviously, in the Antarctic, it ain't going to affect a whole lot of people. But up here, it's going to affect more in the Arctic region. There's more people up here. But there are people there. This matters. Okay? So, that's what's going on. All these protons are hanging in here, and it disrupts propagation. And Dr. Tony Phillips is over here talking about that. Okay? Excuse me. But he's going over the same stuff. This here. Now, he's calling it a cannibal CME. And I call it that too, because that's just the name it was given. They do not eat each other. They do not combine. They get as close as you possibly can, but they don't like completely engulf with one another. The magnetic properties typically will not allow for that to happen, because they'll start repelling a little bit. And you get that snowplow effect, okay, in between the two CMEs that I talked about a bunch. So, yeah. Back at you, butterfly. Excuse me. All right, guys, so what they've done here, please go check them out over here and give them some love, because, I mean, Dr. Tony Phillips, spaceweather.com. Now, that's the eruption I showed you. Here's the one that was off the backside. What he's done here is he's overlaid it. All the eruptions at once. He's showing you everything that happened on one picture. Okay? Or one image. That's what he did there. So it shows what's going on there, If you guys want to know about near-Earth objects, you can come down here to the bottom of the page. In other words, fireballs, meteorites. Okay? They measure that in lunar distance. So the distance between us and the moon, that's the unit of measurement they're using here. So if you see a 2.6 LD, that's 2.6 lunar distance. And that means you would have to go to the moon twice, 2 times and a half. That's how far away that one would have missed. Now every once in a while you'll come over here and see this 0.3. Right? Notice the date when it was discovered. 24. It was discovered this year. This happens a lot. And the reason why this happens a lot is because there are a lot of these things. We can't catch everything because it's a huge area to try to look. And we're just now getting to where we have the technology to really be able to record this data. It's been happening since the beginning. Okay? We just didn't have the stuff to look and see. So now our technology's gotten better. We're seeing more of them. More people are actually looking. That all factors into how much of this gets recorded. Okay? So don't think just because the number jumped up pretty big that it's anything that wasn't supposed to happen. Now, I'm not saying that we won't get a spike now and again that probably would cause you to question that. But for the most part, all this is probably something that's been going on since day one. We just didn't record it or even know how to look at it. So that's what I would say to that. Okay. But that's about it, guys. I don't have a whole lot more for you. At least not right now. But I'll be going over to Mars probably later on tonight. we might be doing something on his main channel, Marfugal News. I'm not sure exactly. We still got to hammer out the details, but I was going to do it yesterday, and I couldn't make it back home in time. But please go check me out over there. Marf's my boy. You know what I'm talking about. Marf and Dex. Marfugal News. Go check out Tommy over on the lifeboat. Go check out Mark Pyers, Trinity, Ripper, Ilea, all the people I always say, right? So yeah, that's where I'm going to end it, guys. So I'll see you guys soon. I may come back on later on tonight and give you an update. Pretty good possibility of that, because I want you guys to have a good idea of what's going on. Like when we have, you know, if we do get into like storm level, like big time storm level, I will be back on very shortly after that happens. Okay? Also, I don't have any alerts turned on my phone for when this stuff happens. People keep asking me that. I don't. The fact of the matter is, Wages World doesn't sleep very much. So, yeah. I'll just leave it at that. I got really bad insomnia. I have for years, and it really sucks sometimes. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pop off here. God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.